Hello community, hope you are doing well. In this video we are going to continue our project part 2. If you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe, like and share the video. If you haven't seen the last video, please check and then see our next video. Okay, so in this video we are going to create recipe model, recipe list and display recipe details, then shopping list, ingredients, and how can we show that shopping list in the list, and how can we edit those things. Okay, so let's start. So in previous video I show you how we can create the component and what are the component we need in this project. Okay, so here let's create the recipe module. Okay, so module, why we are using module? It's contain the form attribute, like in the recipe what are the form we required, that is contained in the recipe model. So let's create the model. So here I am creating one file which name is the recipe model.ts. okay, so it is model, and let create the model, export class recipe. Okay, and here we are giving the name of the recipe, name we are giving in the string. Okay, and public description, okay, and public and image path. Okay, and in that we need to give in the constructor as well to get name, string, description, string, image path, string. Okay, so this dot name equals to name, this dot description equals to description, and this dot image path equals to image path. Okay, so this is the way you can create the model. Okay, so how we can use this model in our recipe component? Here we are going to see the recipe items or recipe list in our component. So over there we are going to use the recipe model. So here I am showing my recipe in this component. Okay, so let's create the recipes recipe module. Okay, so here we are using this module in recipe, and that's recipe is have multiple objects. Okay, so we are defining it is an array. So here I am adding a recipe, and here you can give the image path of a recipe symbol. So that image path we are going to take from the Google. Okay, let's copy this path, okay, and paste it over here. Okay, and again we are adding the same things for the new recipe. So that recipe we have to render in the recipe recipe list component. So let's create the HTML for it. So here we are going to div row. Here I'm giving a href links. These are the bootstrap class, you can check in the bootstrap. Okay, so here I give the href tools. So inside the href I am going to render the ng4 loop. So star ng4, how we can render array in HTML by using the ng4. So let recipe of recipes Okay, so this way you can use the ng4. Here I am using like this, and pull left. You can show the title of the name of the recipe h4 in the h4 tag, class list item, list group item, and heading. Okay, here you have to use the variable recipe dot name. Okay, so that name it is considering this. Okay, we are using in the model that we have to use over here. np list group item text. So here we have to show recipe dot description. Okay, so which description, whatever we have to use over here, that we need to write here. Okay, so recipe, it's not recipes. Whatever variable you are creating here, that variable you have to use here. And last one is the image path. Okay, let it span. Inside the span tag image src recipe dot image path. Okay, image path, and that image path we need to give the style. For height and width it is img responsive, and style max height we can give 50 pixel. And that recipe list we have to show in the recipe component. So for that what we have to do, for that we can see for recipe component what we have to see over here, we have to add the recipe list over here. Okay, so for to show the recipe list, what we have to do over here, we have to add our selector name, which is having selector name of our list recipe list component is apps recipe list, that we have to add in the HTML. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so here you can see our recipe component is not rendering. Why? We haven't added that app recipe component in the app.html. Okay, app.component.html. Over there also we have to add a app selector of the recipe component, which is having the app recipe. Okay, so let's add in the app component. Here we can use dot container class. It is called the structure directives. Okay, so let's see. You can see our image is rendering over here, and here you are getting the one button. Okay, it is name having the new recipe. Okay, you can see this is the list of recipe, and let's add the header over here. Here you can see we have a header component over here. So header is we haven't added here, so we have to add over here a header. Okay, so then you can navigate to recipe list to shopping list. Okay, so let's add the header. So what is the selector of the header? Header selector is the app selector. So that selector we have to add over here. Okay, so it will rendering the header walk. Header is walk. Okay, and in the HTML part we can add a header like that. So in the HTML part we have to add the navigation, okay, of the shopping list, of the shopping and the shopping items as ingredients and the recipes. Okay, so let's add the nav class nav bar dash Okay, so now you can see our header is coming here with the recipe books, recipe, shopping list and the manage. So in recipes, you can see over here, and in the recipe list item. Okay, so let's add our app recipe items over here. Okay, which is this one. Okay, you can see our designing is ready. Okay, here it is not showing the image. You can check with the particular path. Okay, this is the rice crumble. Okay, so now we are going to add a recipe where we can add, delete or clear the recipe names. Okay, so let's add the recipe items over here. For that we have to go in the recipe components. Okay, so in that we have to give a recipe item where, okay, you can see our recipe items is work. Okay, so here let's modify the component which is the recipe details. Okay, so let's add the recipe details component over here. Okay, so inside that let's remove this code row image where we can give the image. So another row we are going to create for the recipe names in this row, and in the third row we are having the shopping list, edit recipe and the delete recipe. Okay, you can see here is the recipe, manage recipe, then shopping list and recipe book, and another two rows for the description and the ingredients. Let's create that row. So it's for the ingredients row, ingredients, and for the description let's add this recipe details module in the recipe component.html. So here we have to give class called md7. Okay, so here is the, can see the manage recipe having the description, ingredients and the manage. Okay, here is the recipe name. And now let's edit the shopping list component. Shopping list component we have to add in main module which is having the app component.ts file. So let's add that component over there below the recipe module. Okay, you can see here shopping list is work. Okay, so our component is successfully imported. So what we have to given here, we have to show the shopping list over here for the ingredients and all that things. So let's create that, and in the shopping.ts file we have to import the ingredients. Let's create a model which is name having the ingredients. So in that we have to give export class ingredient, and inside the constructor let's give the public name, string and the price. Okay, so in the shopping list let's create the list for the ingredient, the same way which we are created in the, so for the recipe, and here give the name another ingredient. So let's create the list for that. So you can see our array is rendering here with the name and price. Okay, so let's check on the browser. You can see our, it is working fine over here. Okay, tomato and oil which is showing with the amount. In shopping edit we are giving add, delete and clear the in for the ingredients where user can add the ingredients and delete the ingredients. Okay, so let's add that things. So for that we have to open that component, and that component first we have to import over here in the list. Okay, it's already added over here. Okay, and let's add code over here for the add, delete and clear. Okay, so row, first we give the name and price. So you can see we taken a form over here. Over there we are getting a name, and over here a price. Okay, and the price is the amount. Okay, so here where user can add, delete and clear the price amount. Okay, so this functionality I am not showing over here, we will see in the later in the course. Okay, so up to this now we are learn the basic things like how we can add a one component to another component, how we can use that component as a structure directory, and how we can create the basic project things. This is the overview of the projects. Okay, this is the way you can create the project. So if you have any doubt, please comment in the comment section, and if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe and like and share the videos. Thank you for watching this video.